Hero887, your host, welcoming you to why I think Talion is Middle-earth's version of Santa Claus.
Ho, 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 ho! Merry Christmas!
What? You're probably thinking, no way, Hero, you've lost it, dude. Come on, there's no way. I mean, Santa Claus? Yes, and here is why. I'm going to give you 5 reasons why I think Talion is possibly Santa Claus in Middle-earth. Number 1, Monolith can do this. You say, no, they can't. No, Monolith can't do that. It's not Tolkien canon material, man. Talion ain't gonna be no Santa Claus in Middle-earth. Well, I beg to differ. On the premise of Tolkien's very own created character, known in the books but not in the movies, you know who he is, Tom Bombadil. Oh yes, Tom Bombadil's existence as a seeming non-essential character to Tolkien's stories proves that Tolkien lore allows for some fun and even non-essential characters. Why do I say he's fun? Well, because he would go around singing merrily and picking lily pads for his bride. I mean, is that not fun? It seems to me quite whimsical and non-essential to the story, thus granting Monolith some creative freedom to make Talion Santa Claus in Middle-earth. Oh, but you see, it gets better. Now I'm going to let you listen to a dev, Michael D. Planter himself, as he was asked a question, what kind of liberties is Monolith Productions given in the Tolkien story? Listen to what he has to say. I think you want to hear.
So we work with Middle-earth Enterprises, and we just stay very closely within what we can read from The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. As long as we're not, I guess, breaking or changing established lore, then we're trying to fit the best possible story we can within those boundaries. We're definitely creating our own story within the boundaries of Middle-earth, but in the same way that the films change some things in order to make the best film they can, we definitely adapt some elements to try and make the best game we can as well.
Oh! So, coming from the mouth of the dev, Michael D. Planter himself, they're going to adapt the story however they think is closest to lore. And I'm saying the premise of Tom Bombadil as being a launching point for Talion being Santa is quite convincing. Not only that, but you say there's not enough similarities between Talion and Tom Bombadil. I mean, you don't see Celebrimbor skipping merrily and all that. Well, actually, before he was, turned into a wraith, and his wife and children, was killed right in front of him by Sauron, and all these horrible things happened to him. He was actually known to be good-natured and loving, and well, he liked to even give gifts. If that's not like Santa Claus, I don't know what is. Number 2, Uruk and Orcs are Talion's equivalent of Santa Claus's little crafting helper elves. Now, you'd say, okay, that's just a little creepy. I thought elves were cute with pointy ears and nice. They didn't want to eat you for dinner. Well, let me just explain that actually in Tolkien's lore, that orcs were once elves, or men, actually. They're one of the two. Melkor, being the first Dark Lord, enslaved some of them and cruelly tortured them, turning them into orcs. Well, you say, okay, perhaps orcs once used to be, nice, pointy-eared people. But now, what good can orcs do? After all, we all know in The Hobbit that it was said orcs can make no beautiful things. Coming in reference right from The Hobbit, so we know they can make no beautiful things. But did you hear? They were clever. Okay, let me focus on a few things here. They can make A, machines, B, tools, C, instruments of torture. Wait, no, take out C. C, wheels, and D, engines. Okay, so doesn't that make sense? After all, these are all things that normal Santa Claus elves would need to use to, in fact, craft and build things, or at least help Santa Claus. Don't you get it? Talion is Santa Claus. Now, you'd say, well, wait a minute. How is he going to, make orcs actually be his slaves and build things like toys for little boys and girls? How is it that he can enslave them? Well, duh, the Ring of Power. I mean, that's what the whole premise of Shadow of War is about, crafting a new ring, controlling his armies. Yes, they're going to help him because he can control them. Now, how do I know this? Because just like the Ring of Power of Sauron, whenever he was defeated the first time by Isildur cutting off his fingers, remember that? Well, all the orcs fled. That's what we know, because without their leader's dark will driving them on, Sauron's armies were routed and fled, and thus the campaign to defeat the Free Peoples was seemingly ended. Hooray for humanity! But at the same time, we notice that was Sauron's evil dark will. Imagine Talion's gifted wonderful will to bring gifts to the world, forced upon the orcs, aka his elves, to do his bidding. Yes, it fits. It works. I like it. Moving on to the next point, number 3. Now, Talion's half-wraith immortality tied to Celebrimbor makes him real Santa Claus material. Here's why. Celebrimbor enables Talion to live forever. Pretty much like Santa, or at least we think Santa lives forever. I'm not really sure. Maybe he keeps procreating and making more Santas and then ended up through Mrs. Claus. Anyway, we won't go there. But what I will say is that, yeah, he can live forever, therefore always giving gifts. Next, Celebrimbor has sick, amazing crafting skills, just like Santa. And Celebrimbor was trained by none other than the Lord of Gifts himself, aka Sauron. Yes, as a matter of fact, Sauron did have that title, Lord of Gifts. I mean, if that isn't obviously a Santa Claus reference, what is? Now, Sauron shapeshift into this fair form in the Second Age, but the question is why? Why did he even do this? Because Sauron sought to control humanity by leveraging humanity's greatest fear against them, and that is the fear of death. Now stick with me, because this is where I'm going to describe for you what the gifts that Talion would create, not little toys for boys and girls, but rather a greater gift, a gift that all humanity would want, and that is an escape from death. By creating fear of death and envy of the immortality of elves, Sauron baited mankind, who were always most weak to his deceptions, to desire above all else, you guessed it, the everlasting gift of physical immortality. Thus, he created the Rings of Power to grant the wearer eternal life. Celebrimbor, now brought back into the story after a little backstory here of this gift of men, he was taught by Sauron in the fair form, again, aka Lord of the Gifts, who likely learned of crafting immortality into a ring, imbuing it with this immortality ability to be given to the younger children, which again is men and hobbits, so just in reference, younger children, men and hobbits, got it, and thus granting them their desire to live forever in Middle-earth and the greater Arda. Now, this is not a stretch. This is literally in Tolkien's lore. Therefore, it is very easily said that this is both possible and in Celebrimbor's nature to craft such highly envied gifts of power to be given to men and hobbits. Boom! Wow, and we're not even done. Moving on to number 4. Talion's branding ability lets him control mythical and powerful creatures just like how Santa controls his flying reindeer. Gift delivery by Drake, anyone? Ha! I'll take that. Oh yeah. Furthermore, Talion's alliance with Carnan, this nature spirit, Entwife-looking girl that we'll see in the storyline. Yeah. Well, this spirit gives him even more control over nature and creatures. So, instead of reindeer, just imagine your gifts of rings of power being delivered by all these creatures. That's how he's going to get it to Middle-earth and the greater part of the world. Bingo! Number 5, Saragost. So you know how Santa Claus lives in the North Pole, or at least where it's very cold, and he's up in the North Pole the whole year around, and his fortress, just creating all of these epic toys to take the kids around the world and all that kind of stuff. Well, Saragost is also cold. Saragost is also a fortress in which Talion could create as many toys as he wants. Right? In his fortress? Yes, this makes sense, right? Furthermore, it could be his future base of operation. We could see it already lined up in the gameplay. After all, haven't you seen Saragost? It's this cold, wintry biome place, and he's going to go take it on. He's going to go defeat people, and boom, there you go. It's his kingdom of ice. It's his gift-making zone, just like Santa Claus. It's cold like the North Pole, it's a place to craft all his gifts in the world in peace, and it's large enough to house all of his little helper orcs. So I submit to you these 5 reasons why Talion is Santa Claus. What I want you to do as a viewer out there today, if you've watched this far, is study movement. Get an answer. What I want you to do is go on Twitter, go on social media, and at Shadow of War Game, and throw in this hashtag, Talion is Santa. That's it. Remember it. Hashtag Talion is Santa. And let's make sure to link this video, help them to watch it, and let's see if they're going to give us a response and tell us what's up. Come on, Monolith. Is it true Talion could theoretically be Santa Claus in Middle-earth? It fits, right? Come on, it fits. Monolith, let us know. Don't forget, viewer, hashtag Talion is Santa. Even if the ending isn't him becoming Santa Claus, could he theoretically be Santa Claus? Please, come on. Comment below if you think that Talion could be Santa. And if you disagree, well, go ahead and leave a comment below. But I've got a pretty watertight 5 reasons why Talion is Santa. Well, that's all I have for you today. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more Shadow of War news and Shadow of War gameplay when that comes around. Check out the playlist in the description below because I'm going to be bringing you that one. It's all here, ready for release and playing by me, yours truly, Hero87, your host, signing off. Sayonara, sidekicks.